Okay? Now, welcome to Prosperity Zen. And people often times ask, prosperity and Zen seems like two opposite ends of the spectrum. You go, what does prosperity and Zen have to do with anything? Okay, let's take a look. If you look at this image here, okay, this is the word for awareness or mindfulness in Chinese. And the interesting part is, it's actually composed of two characters. The one on top is Jin. Any of you who speak Chinese, you know, Jin is like today, like Jin Tian today, or now, or present. The one below, Sin, is the heart. Okay? Now, you might be wondering, what's that got to do with prosperity and abundance? You see, it all goes back to the physical world, as we call it, is actually a reflection of our inner world. Okay? In other words, whatever is happening in our inner world ultimately reflects on the outer world. And that means our thoughts, our emotions, which are generated by chakras, which populates our energy field, is our inner world. Make sense? So that inner world, how it is, it's strong, it's clean, it's blocked, it's filled with joyful thoughts, ugly thoughts, whatever, that ultimately reflects out into the physical world. And a lot of people don't understand that, you know, when you say things like, oh, I'm so broke, I can't even afford something, whatever. You know, this self-talk, you're creating certain thoughts. Or when you say, oh, I'm so blessed, I'm so happy, and you say it with full certainty, those thoughts and emotions also populate your aura. So to make it a little easier, I know a lot of you are new, some of you just came from some of Tony Robbins' events and you're new to energy, so I want to kind of ease you in on understanding this weird stuff we do. And we love doing it because, as I always say, you do enough weird stuff, at some point it becomes normal in your life. So, that said, the inner world consists of your aura, your chakras, your thoughts, and your emotions. Of course, some of you have studied more, it would include your other subtle bodies, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? So, it consists of our chakras, our thoughts, and emotions. Now, that said, how do these thoughts and emotions affect us? Let's make this more practical. I hope you have a piece of paper. Make sure you have paper with you. You have a pen. You have your wallet. If you don't have your wallet, just put your pile of gold next to you. Okay? Because I want to make this more experiential. Because anybody can lecture about energy, prosperity, love, kindness, or you can explain about everything. Right? You can explain anything, but I'd rather that you experience it so this energy becomes real to you. Okay? So rub your hands together. Press the center of your palms. All right, let's sensitize our hands. So keep your tongue on your palate. This is important because you have an energy channel from the bottom of your mouth to your pelvic floor, from the top of your mouth going up to the same place. The only place that's not connected is your mouth. Because you got to talk, you got to eat. So that circuit is open. When you connect your tongue, it connects the circuit, the energy flows. That's why we always say when you're meditating, you're practicing Tai Chi or any energy work, keep your tongue on your palate. As the energy flows, you actually become stronger. Okay? So for this exercise, open your palms. Keep your tongue on your palate. Keep your armpits slightly open. This allows energy flow, not for ventilation. Okay, open your palms. Ready? Now gently close your eyes. Now just imagine light coming down into your palms. Inhale that light into your palms. And gently exhale it out. Again, inhale that light to your palms. This time up to your elbows. And gently exhale it out. Inhale that light again into your elbows, up to your shoulders. And exhale it out of your hands. One more time. Inhale that light into your palms, to your elbows, to your shoulders, up to the top of your head, past your head. Hold it. And let it slide down your head as you exhale, down your shoulders, elbows, hands, and out. All right. By now, most of you should be feeling something. At least in general, people feel a tingling, a slight heaviness, a slight pressure. Okay? Now have it facing each other. Relax your shoulder. Keep your tongue on your palate. just by this alone, some of you might feel a certain sensation. Now, just make sure your hands are relaxed. Bring it out. Slowly come in. Bring it out. Slowly come in. Okay? So what you're feeling is a flow of energy and life force through your body. So a lot of people, they feel a tingling, a pressure, or some sensation. Now, just to kind of stimulate it more, take one finger, imagine light coming out of it, and just twirl it on the other palm. In the other direction. Some of you are feeling something here, right? Okay, let's try the other hand. All of this is preliminary, so you have a better understanding of energy. Okay, rotate and rotate. All right. Some of you go, that's weird. Yeah, we love it. Okay, shake your hand. Now, let's try something. Put your hand like this. Go like that. It should feel similar. Now, put one hand down. Look at this empty hand, whichever one you chose. I want you to imagine a red apple sitting on it. Just imagine your red apple. Just look at your hand. Keep looking at that red apple. Okay, good enough. Ready? Open the other palm. Compare. Anybody notice a little something on this hand? We're not done yet. You imagine a red apple here, right? Okay. You remember when you're putting your hands like this, try to feel what it feels like? Now, what I want you to do is put your hand on top of it. Okay, it's going to pass the camera screen. Now, slowly come down. Before your two hands touch, can you feel that similar sensation like you did earlier? Like a something. Now, compared to your forearm, which you didn't do anything, right? You just visualized the apple here, not here. Try it. Compare. Seems like there's a something. Okay. So visualize that apple. Now verbally say the word apple to your hand. Go. Apple, 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 apple. Easy. Compare. Some of you going, right? Now check it again. Press. On the side. Some of you are very intuitive and very sensitive. You can almost sense like a apple or something there. Okay, press. Now compare it with your forearm. Still nothing. So whatever it is, it's still there. We're not done yet. Look at your hand. Now some of you like apples, some of you don't. Whatever it is, I want you to look at the apple. In your mind, recall the time you ate one and you liked it, you didn't like it. I want you to feel it. Go. Some of you could be, some of you like, ugh, whatever. Keep going. All right, good enough. Compare. Yeah? Okay, check it one more time. Press. You go, man, that is weird. There's like almost like a something there. Try it with your eyes closed, because some of you, especially some of you who are overthinkers, or you're too mental, you go, yeah, it's supposed to be this, but it's not supposed to be. Your mind just plays. So what you do is like this. Close your eyes. Oh, not yet, so you see what I'm doing. You start here, close your eyes, and go purely by feeling of the top hand. Slowly come down. As soon as you feel a sensation, stop. Press. Okay, open your eyes. Now, one last thing. Are you ready? Go like this. Say disintegrate. Disintegrate, okay? Disintegrate, 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 disintegrate. Now compare. Almost the same. Try it this way. Compare. Notice that lumpy thingy is out. It's not there. Your forearm. So the question is, what the heck happened? All right. Let's make it really, really direct. Every time you think something, you feel something, you intend, you do something, your energy field, through your chakras, create like a form. So if it's your thoughts, it's called a thought form. If it's what you're feeling, it's called an emotional form. Just imagine you have this blob of energy called your aura, and you go, oh, apple. So what happens is, by the force of your will, your aura would either from itself or from the environment take this subtle energy, right, chi, ki, prana, vitality, energy, whatever word you want to say, and it just kind of forms like a hologram of that feeling or that thought. Make sense? In this case, we said apple and we put it here so we can feel it. So when you were going like this, you're going, because if you put your hand on a weighing scale, you probably won't feel it. You won't notice the scale moving. But a lot of you are sensitive because not only do you feel physical weight, but you can sense the transference of this energy. Now it's more focused here. That's why you're with some people, you notice when you're talking to them, sometimes you feel lighter, sometimes you feel heavier. Well, if you're standing on a scale, it won't be moving. But you see, you sense the movement of energy as it localizes somewhere or releases. Now, that was very, very arbitrary, just an apple. Some of you like it, some of you didn't like it. But you notice, when I just had you visualize or say it, this is something. As soon as I have you think about it more, recall a memory, or whether you like it or not, and feel it, some of you actually felt the intensity. Well, guess what? Each day, some scientists decided to count it. I think we developed something like 60 or 70 of these, thousands of these thoughts per day. So these thoughts and emotions are generated by our chakras, our energy bodies, and they populate our energy field. Which brings us to the next point. What's the difference between prosperity consciousness and poverty consciousness? Right? Now, first thing to remember. When you think of something, that thought contains what you're thinking or feeling. Like that is like its essence. But it's made of energy. So that energy radiates some energy. So every thought has its own aura. Make sense? So if you have someone who likes to complain a lot, whether justified or not, so just imagine this bunch of little thoughts, like little, holograms of misery are floating all over the aura. So what happens if each of them radiates an aura of 3-5 inches, another one, the entire energy field is filled with it. Well, what do you think is radiating out of the energy field? You get close to them, you go, ugh, I feel like throwing up just getting close to you. And sometimes not even close to you. What's that American saying? You can feel them a mile away. Hopefully the aura is not that big, it's full of crap. Anyway, you get my point? So look at it this way. If that's how they think, and that's what populates their aura, when the situation happens, good or bad, which way do you think their consciousness will lean? Toward, oh yeah, I can see what's good in this. Or they can go, here we go again, whatever bad could happen, always happen to. Sounds familiar? That's a form of poverty consciousness. It's not just one time they're just feeling bad or depressed, because things don't always go your way, right? But these people, at some point, it builds up. Now, the opposite side of the spectrum is the same thing. A person looks at their finances, he could be better, but you know what? I see a bright future. I can see that if I do this, in other words, they look at the more positive side of things. So the manufacturing process is identical. You think of it, you feel it, boom, there's your hologram of light, and it sits in your aura. Now imagine each one of them, same thing, has an aura by itself. And that populates your energy field. When a situation happens, let's say it's not favorable to you, before your mind could manufacture anything negative, it's already being affected by these positive thoughts to go, what's good in this? How can we make this better? How can we turn this around? Because you already have the momentum of all the thoughts and emotions you created. Same thing with a negative guy. Even if something is good, they don't get a chance to create that positive thought form or positive emotional form. There's already what? Shrouded by the negative ones. So that's why I remember my teacher used to say, take a look, big fish eat small fish. What does that mean? The majority of the thoughts and emotions that populate our aura will gobble up whatever is small one. That's why you hear me say this so many times. Why is it that so many people make New Year's resolution only for it to be completely ignored after a month or two? Some people within a week. Well, because their aura is full of big fish. The entire year in the past or before, they have all these negative experiences that they never disintegrated. Of course, they don't know how. Okay, you can really blame them. So what happens? it's like a downward spiral. They have these negative thoughts, they lost their job, this happened, that happened. So that's probably in the aura. So you go, okay, New Year's Day is here. I'm going to decree, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be this. Maybe for that 2-3 hours, yay! When their mind is not focused, gone. Sounds familiar? So that's the reason why we call it prosperity Zen. Zen is awareness. Awareness means what? You see the word present and heart, right? The past, the present, the future. Like my teacher said, the present is the present is quickly becoming the past. The future is becoming the present. So awareness or mindfulness is essentially doing this. You look at the timeline, like zooming out. This is a timeline, past, future, present. I'm going to look at the whole thing from the perspective of now. Make sense? In other words, whatever happened in the past that you didn't like, good or bad, whatever you want in the future, all of it, you're looking at it from the viewpoint of now. Right? Eckhart Tolle, a lot of great teachers said the power of now. Essentially, that's what you're doing. Now, listen. Once you understand that, oh, this is the now, that's the past, the next thing you need to do is to say, who's looking? Who's observing? Make sense? You say, that's present, that's past, I want to make things better. Okay. Who's I? Because that part is also the missing feature or the missing component in a lot of people who teach prosperity. For them, it's like, let's affirm this, let's affirm that. They never went back and says, that's great. Who created those pessimistic thoughts in the first place? Who created the positive thoughts? If you don't go back to the source of who created those, then you just keep making positive thoughts. Hopefully you build enough of it to eat up the old ones. And if not, you're back to square one. Because you did not go to the origination of where these thoughts come from. Oh, I know that, because I don't like this dude and he keeps being negative to me, so that's why I became negative. It has to be from the perspective of the soul. I'll talk about the ritual in a second. Now, what does it mean by perspective of the soul? Most people that talk about prosperity, they talk about money, being positive, prosperity. Very few actually connect it to spirituality. And you notice that when we first started, even though we're talking about prosperity and abundance, what's the first thing we do? We ask for spiritual guidance, help, and protection. You notice that? It's like opposite of the spectrum. But in reality, that is the true secret. Because who created those thoughts? The I. Who created these emotions? The I. Who used the body to move in a certain direction towards prosperity or certain poverty? I. Make sense? So the spiritual aspect is there. So let's talk about it very quickly because some of you haven't studied this before. If I ask you to move your body left and right, I'm going to say, what are you doing? I'm moving my body. Who's moving it? I am. Okay. Feel happiness. Feel sadness. Feel joy. What are you doing? I'm feeling all those emotions you're looking really weird doing. Okay? I'm feeling happy, joy, sad, whatever. Who's the feeler? I am. And what did you do? I created these feelings. Of course, people don't talk weirdly like that. They just say, I felt this. Well, when you say felt this, what did you do? Some entity or being went through a process to create these feelings. Make sense? It's just like I'm sitting here. I grab a computer. I type something out. I print something out. So I'm the operator. I use a certain mechanism or machine to create this data. Same thing. The I used this machine, created feelings. Same thing with thoughts. Think of an apple like we did earlier. What did you do? I'm thinking of an apple. What'd you do? The I, whoever this I is, used a certain process, a certain mechanism to create this thought. In this case, it's an apple. All right, dumb question for you. Are you the apple? Of course not. It's right there. Or at least the thought of it. So in other words, I created the apple. Yes? I created a feeling of happiness, joy, and sadness. That's why Zen, which came from India, Dhyana, went to China, become Chan, went to Japan, Zen, is prolonged awareness. Most people who want to be prosperous, and they've been doing so many things, the reason they cannot be prosperous because they forgot one critical part. They're not aware that they constantly have a factory of producing negative thoughts, that emotions that populate their aura. So when they're not really on guard, what happens? They have a tendency to be moved towards what's filling up their energy field. And if they had difficult life, or they had parents that were not doing so well, or did not train them right in the way they thought, would think and feel, guess what happens? They just notice, how come they try everything, doesn't work? They don't realize it's because there's subconscious mechanisms within the energy field that is constantly what? Pushing them in that direction. We call it prosperity Zen, so that to just kind of always check, what are the thoughts and emotions I'm creating? Because no affirmation will help me if I say this affirmation now, but the rest of the time, the rest of my day, I'm churning out crappy thoughts. This will eat this one. Make sense? Of course, we don't stop there. You need energy to remove energy. Did you hear what I just said? If the aura is populated with these negative thoughts, negative emotions, you cannot take a shovel, a knife, or whatever, go, I don't like this crap, flush it down the toilet. You can't. You have to use energy to remove energy. Then you have to use energy to create more energy so that you populate your aura with the thoughts and emotions that you want, so it works in the background like a module in a computer program to just keep working like an algorithm. But before any of that, you have to first realize who is creating those thoughts and emotions. That's why you cannot separate spirituality and sustainable prosperity. Oh, but I know people who are prosperous. A lot of it has to do with other factors. Number one, it's very possible that they have a lot of good karma. We'll talk about it later. Another thing is, they might not talk to you about it, but there's certain things that go to in the background that allows them to create positive thought form that move in that direction.